Replacing the rudder on a Fenn Mako XT surfski. Part 2. The rudder sleeve. Hello again. As I mentioned in Part 1, the original bottom rudder block, that is, the block that is attached to the hull, had broken loose, cracked the skin and created a severe leak. So the next step is to replace it with something more substantial. The new block is double the size of the original, and because it spans the curve of the hull at this point, I have placed it on top of a bed of thickened epoxy to ensure the contact is complete over the full surface area of the block. The new rudder sleeve was made from 12.5mm stainless steel tube. This was a nice fit with the threaded rod used for the rudder shaft. After cutting the sleeve tube to approximately the right length, I fitted it into the upper and lower blocks, inserted the shaft, added the necessary nuts and washers and 2 spring washers, marked the length and cut the shaft to size. When this was done, I turned the ski over and cleaned up the residual adhesive that had leaked through while attaching the bottom rudder block. Then I inserted the sleeve, noted the angle, and cut the sleeve to the angle, so I didn't have to sand or file the sleeve once it had been adhered to the blocks and risk damaging the hull. Then I did a dry fit with all the componentry. It was important at this point to make sure the length of the rudder shaft was enough to accommodate all the components and not too long. In order to get good adhesion to the stainless steel sleeve, the outside was thoroughly sanded and grooves cut in it to allow extra surface area for the adhesive. I've used epoxy resin throughout because, in my opinion, it's simply the best adhesive for most woodworking applications. It was liberally applied to the inside of the holes in both blocks and the outside of the sleeve, which was then inserted into the blocks. The ski was then turned over, the sleeve height adjusted, so it was perfectly level with the plane of the hull. Any gaps were filled with resin. Once the resin had cured, excess adhesive was removed using the 1/2-inch drill bit and the shaft inserted to check the fit and ensure there was no binding or obstruction.